A poor man once married a woman, and together they had a child. Soon after, the man decided to travel in search of a livelihood. He and his wife agreed that he would be gone for 20 years. If he stayed away even a single day beyond that, she would be free to do as she pleased. The wife swore to honor this agreement. The man departed, leaving behind his wife and newborn son, who was not even a month old. He traveled to a distant land and found work at a flour mill owned by a kind man. The mill owner grew fond of him due to his diligence. After 20 years of hard work, the man said to the mill owner, "I have decided to return home. My wife promised to wait for 20 years, and I want to see what has become of my family." The mill owner replied, "Please stay one more year. I have grown attached to you as if you were my own son." But the man said, "I cannot. My family is calling me. 20 years have passed, and if I don't return this year, my wife may leave." The mill owner gave him 3 gold coins and said, "This is all I have. Take it. It's not much for what you've given me." The man took the gold and began his journey home. Along the way, he met 3 travelers, 2 young men and an old man. They introduced themselves and began talking, though the old man remained silent, watching birds and laughing quietly. Curious, the poor man asked, "Who is this old man?" The young men replied, "He is our father." The man asked, "Why does he laugh like that?" They answered, "He understands the language of birds and listens to their amusing conversations." "Why doesn't he speak?" the man inquired. They replied, "Because each of his words comes at a price." "How much does he charge?" the man asked. "1 gold coin per sentence," they said. The poor man thought, "I'm already poor. Giving him 1 coin won't make me poor. I'd like to hear what he says." He handed the old man 1 gold coin. The old man said, "Do not cross a raging river." Then he fell silent. They continued walking. The man thought, "What a strange man. He understands bird speech and charges a coin for a few words. What might he say if I gave him another?" He pulled out a 2nd coin and gave it to the old man, who said, "If you see vultures circling, go see what's happening." Again he fell silent. The man thought, "How many times have I seen circling vultures and never checked? Let's see what he says with the last coin." He gave the final gold coin to the old man, who said, "Before you act, count to 25. Then he said no more. They eventually parted ways, and the man continued toward his village. On his way, he came to the edge of a roaring river, filled with broken branches and churning water. He remembered the old man's first advice and chose not to cross. Instead, he sat by the riverbank, took out some bread, and began to eat. Suddenly, he heard a sound. Turning, he saw a rider on a white horse. The rider asked, "Why don't you cross the river?" The man replied, "It's too dangerous." The rider scoffed, "Watch me." He charged into the river, but the current quickly swept both rider and horse away. The rider drowned, but the horse swam back to shore, drenched and exhausted. The man mounted the horse and searched for a safer crossing. Eventually, he found a bridge, crossed safely, and continued toward his village. As he passed through a thick grove of trees, he noticed 3 large vultures circling above. Remembering the old man's second advice, he dismounted and crept into the trees. There he discovered 3 dead men, and beside them, a leather bag full of gold coins. They were thieves who had fought over stolen loot and killed each other. The man took the gold and one of their discarded weapons, then continued on his way. By evening, he reached his home. He opened the outer door and stepped into the courtyard. Curious, he peeked through a window to see what his wife was doing. The window was open. Inside, the room was brightly lit and a table was set with food. At the table sat his wife, and a man he did not recognize with his back to the window. Shocked and heartbroken, he thought, "You traitor, you swore you'd wait for me. Now you live in my house with another man?" Furious, he raised his weapon to strike, but then remembered the old man's final advice. "Before you act, count to 25. So he counted silently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside, the young man said to the woman, "Mother, tomorrow I will journey out to find my father. It's so hard living without him." He continued, "How many years has it been since he left?" She replied, 20 years, my son. You were only a month old when he went away." The man outside dropped the weapon, tears filling his eyes. If I hadn't counted, he thought, I would have committed a terrible mistake and regretted it forever. He shouted through the window, "My son, my wife, come out and greet the one you have long waited for."